Good afternoon. My name is Cindy Kimpel. I'm one of the nurses from CHP's Bryan office. On behalf of all the staff at CHP Home Care and Hospice, I would like to welcome each of you to this very special virtual version of our annual memorial service. 2020 has certainly been a year of many changes, adaptations, worries, and sometimes tears as we tried to find what our new normal was in a constantly changing and evolving pandemic. CHP rallied and embraced the challenges and the changes during this unprecedented time to continue to provide a quality and caring end-of-life journey for your loved one. Whether your loved one was at home, an extended care facility, or our very own Defiance Inpatient Center, it was our most profound honor to care, guide, and walk through this journey with you. COVID may have altered our daily routine, but this is so insignificant compared to the changes each of you has faced due to the illness and the loss of your loved one. So we'd like to give you the opportunity to sit down, catch your breath, and join us for a few moments as we pay tribute to those we cared for and to you, their caregivers. We'd like you to please remember the many good times, mourn the bad and sad times, and for a few moments with us, smile. And please don't sit and weep because I'm gone, but celebrate me home.
Somewhere beyond the grave, there is a land where Jesus went to prepare by his own hands. And for those saved by grace, there is a resting place. And in a few more days, it will be mine. Some call it heaven, I call it home. Some call it dreaming, let me dream on. Some call it paradise, somewhere beyond the skies. Some call it heaven, I call it home. Some say that you can't go back home again, and things will not ever be as good as they've been. But I've got good news for you. When heaven comes into view, one glimpse and you'll know the best is yet to come. Some call it heaven, I call it home. Some call it dreaming, let me dream on. Some call it paradise, somewhere beyond the skies. Some call it heaven, I call it home. Some call it paradise, somewhere beyond the skies. Some call it heaven, I call it home.
To my dearest family, some things I'd like to say,
But first of all, to let you know that I arrived okay. I'm writing this from heaven. Here I dwell with God above. Here there's no more tears of sadness. Here is just eternal love. Please do not be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I am with you every morning, noon, and night. That day I had to leave you, when my life on earth was through, God picked me up and hugged me, and he said, I welcome you. It's good to have you back again. You were missed while you were gone. As for your dearest family, they'll be here later on. I need you here badly. You're part of my plan. There's so much that we have to do to help our mortal man. God gave me a list of things that he wished for me to do, and foremost on the list was to watch and care for you. And when you lie in bed at night, the day's chores put to flight, God and I are closest to you in the middle of the night. When you think of my life on earth and all those loving years, because you are only human, they are bound to bring you tears. But do not be afraid to cry. It does relieve the pain. Remember, there would be no flowers unless there was some rain. I wish that I could tell you all what God has planned, but if I were to tell you, you wouldn't understand. But one thing is for certain, though my life on earth is over, I'm closer to you now than I ever was before. There are many rocky roads ahead of you and many hills to climb, but together we can do it by taking one day at a time. It was always my philosophy, and I'd like it for you too, that you give unto the world will give to you. If you can help somebody who's in sorrow and pain, then you can say to God at night, my day was not in vain. And now I'm contented that my life was worthwhile, knowing as I passed along the way, I made somebody smile. So if you meet somebody who's sad and feeling low, just lend a hand to pick him up, and on your way you go. When you're walking down the street and you got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only half a step behind. And when it's time for you to go, from that body to be free, remember you're not going, you're coming here to me.
Our prayers have all been answered. I finally arrived. The healing that had been delayed has now been realized. No one's in a hurry. There's no schedules to keep. We're all enjoying Jesus, sitting at his feet. If you could see me now, I'm walking streets of gold. If you could see me now, I'm standing tall and whole. If you could see me now, you know I've seen his face. If you could see me now, you'd know all my pains erased. And you wouldn't want me to ever leave this place. Oh, if you could only see me now. My light and temporary trials worked out for my good. To know it brought you glory when I misunderstood. Though we've had our sorrows, they can never compare what Jesus has in store for us. No language can share. If you could see me now, I'm walking streets of gold. If you could see me now, I'm standing tall and whole. If you could see me now, you seen his face. If you could see me now, you'd know all my pains erased. Oh, if you could see me now, I'm walking streets of gold. If you could see me now, I'm standing tall and whole. If you could see me now, you know I've seen his face. If you could see me now, you know all my pains erased. You wouldn't want me to ever leave this place. Oh, if you could only see me now. If you could only see me now. See me now.
Hi, my name is Pastor Marc Phillips, and I'm one of the chaplains here at CHP. I want to thank you for taking time to allow us to bring you a time of peace, comfort, remembrance, and celebration of those who you've loved so much. Life can be kind of like a spin cycle of a washing machine. It's the spin cycle that leaves us twisted in knots and wrung dry like clothes. When we lose the one we love, it can feel like life is spinning out of control. And that can get us caught in a spin cycle of our own, so to speak. In today's world, the virus is all around us, affecting us in every area of our lives. Our jobs, our home life, our recreation, and even our grief. For those that have lost loved ones this past year, the celebrations of their lives and memorial services have been a lot different than what we're used to. Some of them may not have happened at all. But even this memorial service is different than we're all used to, and we're all just kind of struggling with missing those hugs, missing that face-to-face that we have grown so accustomed to. My prayer is that you have a support system around you that can give you hope, to share love with you, and to bring you comfort. While our world around us changes constantly, the change of losing someone we love is not something we encounter all the time. And I'm thankful for that, as I am confident you are as well. I'm sure you've heard it said many times that people grieve in different ways. And many times when we think about our loved ones leaving us, the word comfort doesn't really come to mind. We're lost because they've always been there. We're angry at the world. We want to shout at everyone who comes into our paths. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, so we get anxious. Many will also withdraw from the world and could be suffering their loss in silence. We want you to know that you're not alone, that God is always with you. He told us that he would never leave us or forsake us in the book of Hebrews in our Bibles. We want you to know that we are also here to offer support in any way that we can. We've been blessed with having people who have the ability here to care not only for your loved ones as they prepare to pass on to in their eternity, but also for you who are left behind. I've sat with quite a few of you as your loved ones were breathing their last, or as they were facing their last moments, and I've heard stories of your loved ones and how much you love them, how much you're going to miss them, and all of the things that you remember from your life with them. In the Bible, the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 4, it said, "Blessed are they that mourn, for they will be comforted." God uses the people around us to bring comfort. When we allow others to listen to our stories and share the lives that we've had, healing can begin. Our intention today is to give you a space to continue to remember your loved one We want you to remember the effect that they had on your life and continue to have on your life, to allow those memories to bring smiles to your faces and warmth to your hearts. The gift of memory is a gift from God above. It's with that gift that we can hold on to our loved ones that are no longer by our side. It's also that gift that brings joy. Sometimes we hear a song that was special to those that we've lost, or we see someone that reminds us of them, either through the way they look or their mannerisms or maybe even their voice. Those memories can bring us comfort. Comfort can be found in many worldly ways, but true comfort can only be found in one place. There is one who will always be there to give you comfort, no matter who you've lost, no matter what your experience is with grief, no matter who you're mourning for, and his name is Jesus. He's experienced grief with the loss of his good friend Lazarus. In the book of Luke, in the Bible, we read that he grieved, even though he knew that he was going to bring Lazarus back to life for his Father's glory. We read in that book that Jesus wept. He mourned just like we mourn. He knows what we're going through, and he is there to bring us peace and comfort. Quite frequently, Psalm 23 is shared in services remembering those we have lost. And the very beginning of that psalm says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." The good shepherd takes such good care of his sheep that they need nothing. He cares for us and ensures that our lives are as free from adversity as they can be. However, while God provides for us, he never promised a life with no adversity. He promised, though, that he will be with us every step of the way. When we're high on the mountains, victorious, and when we spend time in the valleys between those mountains. Verse 4 of Psalm 23 says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." We can find comfort in God. And my prayer for all of you as you continue to face the days ahead is that you will lean on the one that can always bring you comfort in your times of uncertainty. As I've shared with many of you before, according to the Bible, Jesus is the only way to heaven. And we want our loved ones to be in heaven. And the only way that we have a chance to see your loved one again is if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. So I pray today, if you haven't done that this could be a time that you would reflect and that you would ask him into your heart and into your life so that you have an opportunity to see your loved one once again. I'll be happy to share more with you about that if you'd like. You can reach out and get my phone number. I would love to have a conversation with you about that. I pray this service is a time of reflection, good memories, and celebration for all of you. Blessings to you all. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. My name's Jeanie Saum, and I'm the hospice supervisor. Today is an opportunity to honor the loss of your loved one. Please sit back, take a deep breath, now exhale, and close your eyes. Take a moment and remember who they were and what they enjoyed about life. See their face, remember their smile, holding their hand, and the warmth of their embrace. Hear the sound of their voice, the wisdom of their advice. Why did you love them? Why do you miss them? Were they the love of your life? Remember their laugh, their cry, wiping their tears. Remember the good times that you shared together and the bad. Maybe you recall just sitting back and having a cold pop, a glass of wine, or a bottle of beer and talking about your day. There are very few people who come into your life and touch it in such a way. What would you say to them if you could see them one more time? Open your eyes. Your loved ones are with us today. They may have been a husband, wife, mother or father, brother, sister, grandparent, a niece, nephew, child, or a friend. All were unique in their own way. I believe they walk beside us each day, unseen and unheard, a guardian angel. Their life was significant. Remember their accomplishments, the children they raised, the grandchildren and great-grandchildren that they were so proud of. Think about the cookies they baked, the flowers and fields they planted, their many friends, and the things that they did for others. Maybe they were shy and quiet, but they always had an ear to listen. And some liked to argue, but we still loved them. Little by little, we begin to remember not just that they died, but that they lived. Each had their own story to tell. Some resided in a nursing home or an assisted living or the inpatient center. Several were veterans that served our country. They shared their hopes, dreams, and goals to celebrate one more birthday or an anniversary. Several wanted to see a new grandchild born. We had patients whose last wish was to die at home. Some lived a few hours, others a few days. Many achieved their goal, and we celebrated with them. Each year, I ask our staff what they would like me to say. The following are a few things that they shared about some of our patients. The inpatient staff cared for a community physician. He was so pleasant. His smile made the staff feel welcome and comfortable. A mother and son passed 6 weeks apart. Now that's hard on a family. A gentleman who was a carpenter, built several of CHP's buildings, was cared for by our team. He loved spending time at the lake. The oldest patient lived to be 105. She had 2 sisters in their 90s, that cared for her. They lived on the family homestead, none of them married, and the sisters passed a short time after her death. A home economics teacher had each of her students make a quilt. In her final days, she found out that one of her former students is now a foster mother who makes a quilt for each of her foster children. This teacher had no idea how many lives she had touched. When she found out, she said, "And when I'm gone, those quilts will live on forever." One of our nurses got to spend time with the family the last few hours. The granddaughter and youngest son played instruments and were singing hymns. The other sat at her bed, held her hand, prayed over her for peace and love once she got to heaven. The nurse never experienced anything so beautiful. There was a little girl who loved purple, rainbows, unicorns, and was a huge Bob Ross fan. She dyed her hair bright purple. The community planned a huge drive-by and balloon release birthday party. Purple balloons, of course. It rained the entire day until 10 minutes before the parade. 200 cars. Her nurse tried very hard not to cry when she drove by waving and cheering. She proudly wore her Bob Ross little tree socks. The nurse tore up Amazon trying to find those socks and to order her unicorn G-tube fastening tapes. She passed a few days later. She was 9. The youngest was 4 years old, a sweet little boy, and his mommy was a nurse. She took such great care of him, way too young. Our staff lost family members and friends this past year. As a nurse, sometimes a daughter has to step back and be a daughter. We rely on our coworkers for support. We cry together, and now those virtual hugs are priceless. None of us imagined a pandemic being declared in 2020. Many of you were not permitted to be with your loved one in their final days. Some of you may have had outside visits at the window, by phone or FaceTime. If you were able to visit, time was very limited. The chance to say a final goodbye may have been taken away. You may feel guilty. I'm sorry you had to go through this. Losing someone dear to you is painful. Age doesn't matter. You still miss them. The phone calls, the text messages stop. Holidays and birthdays are not the same. The house is quieter. The chair they always sat in is empty. Their legacy is left. With time, we do learn to live without them. There is no right way to feel. It's okay to be angry or sad. It's okay to cry. There's no answer to why or what if. Forgive yourself for anything that you did or didn't do. Have fun. Just because you do doesn't mean that you don't miss them. We all take life for granted. Be thankful for what you have. Say I love you. Spend less time worrying and more time focusing on family and friends. Say I'm sorry despite our differences. And don't sweat the small stuff, because it really is small stuff. To my coworkers, I know your job is not easy. CHP is very blessed to have each and every one of you on our team. You are heroes and have earned your wings. Thank you for all that you do. To the family and friends, a chapter in life has ended. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your loved one's final journey. Keep their memories alive.
Hello, my name is Hayley Neubert, and I'm one of the social workers here at CHP Hospice. We wanted to take the time to show our appreciation to the caregivers, family, and friends who have touched the lives of those we cared for this past year. In many ways, hospice care can be perceived as a journey towards no more pain or physical limitations, a journey through memories and cherished relationships. Caregivers, family, and friends, you all served as living expressions of love for your loved ones on their journey home. Each of you did for them what they were unable to do for themselves. You provided them with a listening ear, relieving their distress. You allowed them a time and a place to unload some of their baggage as they journeyed on. You provided them comfort. You gave them food when they were hungry, fluids when they were thirsty, and you understood their wishes when they wanted neither. You also administered medications and positioned them just so to calm their fears that they would have to travel with pain. You held their dignity in high regard. When beckoned, you answered. It didn't matter if you had spent many nights without sleep. It didn't matter that you were working long hours outside of the home, or if you had assumed the full responsibility of a family. You sacrificed your own needs for theirs. Day by day, you surrounded them with care and love and eased their journey. This journey was not easy for you. We wanted you to know that your care and endless love did not go unnoticed. We witnessed your loving spirit, your kind dedication, and the courage and energy it takes to tend to the needs of others. Your act of love gave your loved ones comfort and peace. From all the staff at CHP Hospice, thank you for your unwavering devotion, time, and love.
When the time comes and I'm standing at the river that separates the two worlds that I love, torn between my precious friends and my family, and that place of peace that's waiting up above. Hold my hand and stay there by my side. And when I finally step into the tide, celebrate me home, celebrate me there, celebrate me in that land of wonder that nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place. Celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. Celebrate me home. I have spent most of my life on earth preparing to take a trip from here to heaven's throne, with the shield and word of God to guide me. It's a comfort knowing I am not alone. So when I take my final fleeting breath and fade into that gentle sleep of death, celebrate me home. Celebrate me there. Celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place. Celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. Celebrate me home. No more broken dreams, no more tears to cry. Into my Father's arms I'll fly. Celebrate me home, celebrate me there. Celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place. Celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. Celebrate me home. Celebrate me home.
I'm Pastor Craig Bard. I'm a chaplain with CHP. And as we continue to remember our loved ones, a few closing thoughts for the bereaved. Grief is a deep and it's a powerful emotion caused by the loss of a loved one, someone that we hold dear. Grief is the price that we pay for loving and for engaging with life. And every emotionally healthy person is going to experience seasons of grief in their life because death and loss are a part of this transitory life that we experience. And I think one of the tragedies in our society is that many bereaved family members and friends experience their grief alone. And they feel like there must be something wrong with me, that certainly no one has ever felt or behaved in strange ways, and they become fearful of the embarrassment or feeling or appearing crazy to others. And so they hide their true feelings of grief. And it's important for you to realize that what you're experiencing is a normal reaction. It's natural and it's expected to the loss of that significant person in your life. Your grief reaction may manifest itself in many ways. There's no formula. There's no checklist to go by. Don't let anybody tell you that. You may feel like you just can't eat. You may have trouble sleeping, or when you do, you may just wake up and after just a few hours. You may lack initiative. You may have forgetfulness. You may have tension or anxiety. Maybe you feel like you just can't get organized and you're up and down and you just don't accomplish anything. Maybe you think about how the death happened over and over in your mind. It's just your mind's way of trying to make sense of it all. Maybe I hear it all the time. You think that you're losing your mind. You can't concentrate. You can't even decide sometimes what to wear that day. Sometimes you might hear your loved one calling in the night or in the house, or you might see your loved one you think driving or passing in the car. Maybe you have a sense of, after they pass, a sense of relief, and then that's followed by a sense of guilt for feeling that way. You may have a depressed mood or uncontrollable crying. Maybe if you think you just could have told them you love them one more time, or if you could have gotten them to the doctor just months before. Nights and weekends are often the loneliest time. You may have a tendency, it's already been said, to respond to others with anger or irritability. You may lack spontaneity. You may have spiritual trouble. You may have anger with God. You may have doubts that God even loves you, but you may feel like if your faith were stronger, you'd be able to handle this, or if you really believed, maybe none of this would even have happened. But through it all, God is faithful. And as Pastor Marc already said, that there's many scriptures that remind us that God's faithful. He's with us even in the valley of the shadow of death. And David put it this way. He said when he sorrowed, he prayed in Psalm 56:8. He says, "You have kept count of my tossings. My tears are in your bottle. Are they not in your book?" That's a touching image of God catching our tears, and it's full of meaning. He sees our grief, and he does not dismiss it. God enters into your grief, and at the same time, he reassures us that all is not lost. He reminds us to be still and to rest in the knowledge that he is God. He's our refuge, and he works all things together for the good for those that he has called. And we came here together as a group, as a family, as a CHP family, because we care about you. We came here today with complete and full knowledge that grief is work, and it's often very private because it's an individual thing for you. And while we can't take away your pain, we share in your brokenness, and ultimately we're here to promote your healing. Grief is not an illness, it's an instinct, and it's a response to having someone taken away that you cherish out of your life. And the problem is that they're not here with you physically anymore, but they live in your heart, they live in your mind, they live in your memories. They're just not here with you physically anymore. And it's not hard to imagine your loved one in heaven. It's not hard to see you reunited with them someday, saved by the one who died on the cross at Calvary. And it becomes easy to think about joining them someday. We don't understand now, but someday we will. And the prophet Isaiah tells us what we need to do today. He said, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to the Lord, that he may have compassion on him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon." And may I end by praying for you. Will you pray? Father, you hold time within your hands, and you see it all from beginning to end. Please keep and carry these precious people in their sadness and in their loss, and cover them with your great wings of love. Give their weary hearts rest and their minds sound sleep. Lord, lift their eyes so that they may catch a glimpse of eternity and be comforted by the promise of heaven. We ask all this in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.